Welcome to Hardin Life Live. We are the Hardins, and we are a family and a team of counselors and coaches who are committed to bringing you some tips on how to live your best life, both from a biblical and therapeutic perspective. And this month, we are covering this topic of fun because, we need more fun in our lives. Things get stressful, things get mundane, things get routine, and making conscious efforts to incorporate fun into your everyday life will really be transformative, especially now that some of us have more time this summer. And so today we are hosting Clay Wyatt. He is a youth pastor in Alabama. He has been on before. We're excited to welcome him back. And Clay, you took this topic from a spiritual perspective, that you can actually have fun in your spiritual life. So would love just to hear from you why you chose that and what we can learn.
Absolutely. So I think there's a implicit idea that sometimes if you are a Christian, you kind of got to be a stick in the mud or be a drag.
Yeah.
And my thought here is that if you are a believer, then God has given you new life in him, and that life is not boring. And so my thought here is that when you are solidly living for the Lord, then he is going to infuse your life with fun. He's going to bring that life about within you for you to experience the joy and the fun that this world has to offer.
I love that.
Wow. Clay, I really loved your blog, and I felt like you really highlighted that. And one of the things, I'm sure you weren't considering it like your main point, but it captured my heart when you said, I just don't think that Jesus' disciples would have kept hanging around him if he wasn't fun. And so it's like, 3.5 years doing life with someone, there's got to be that realness, the chuckles, the, self-effacing fun. And I really thought that should mark part of a Christian's life because it's a relationship is marked by it. So the Christian's life should be marked by it. And I thought it was but I had a visual of Jesus and his disciples and everyone sort of, going, hey, Thomas, the old touch and see guy, gotta,
That's right.
I'm sure they had little funny, lighthearted ways of finding humor in the real, but also the joy, which is, I think, is the standout for Christians when we are in a very troubled world, and we all are right now. How can anybody be lighthearted? And I think true believers know the answer to that question. Even in the midst of the realities and the challenges, we still get that there is an effervescence of lightheartedness that just walking with Jesus gives us moment by moment. Like, I know personally, I even have my little jokes with the Lord about, okay, Lord, so how many bones go down before I'm officially old? And I have my little private jokes with him about the season of life I'm in. So I just appreciated the way you sort of laid that out.
Yeah, I just, when I read scripture, sometimes there's a lot behind the sentence, and sometimes I think you have to use your redemptive imagination to a certain extent to put yourself in the shoes of what it was like to be the disciples or what it was like to be Christ. And like you're saying, Carla, just the real life nature of spending 3.5 years together. And, I'm a pastor, but I'm forgetting the two disciples, but they were called the sons of thunder because they would make a ruckus everywhere they'd go. I'm sure Jesus had fun with that, and, we look at Peter's life and we see how Peter is just he is so hot and he is so cold on some things. And I can't help but think the disciples probably picked on Peter a little bit, and he probably got angry about it, but I think you said it really well just then, of there's a lightheartedness to the Christian life that can easily be overlooked. I had a pastor friend who I do life with. I work at the same church as him. Basically come to me probably about 6 to 8 months ago, and he said, "Man, you seem very serious all the time, and you seem like you're not having a lot of fun. So what's up?" And honestly, I was unaware of it, just because it was just kind of that slow drift into my spiritual life. I was feeling callous, and therefore my love for people wasn't quite as there anymore. And so when he said that, it awakened me to the fact of, you know what, you're actually right. And the Lord just kind of revived my heart a little bit to have the jokes and the fun and the lightheartedness with others.
Yeah. And when you're walking with God in trust and in that relationship, you can be lighthearted. I think about the parent-child relationship, how Jesus said, like, come to me like a child. It's the sense of I'm trusting the higher other to protect me, to be in control, so that I can be free to enjoy. And when I start getting on the throne and I start trying to control or micromanage people or other things I have going on, that's when it robs us of the joy and the lightheartedness that comes from walking with God. It's an adventure.
There was one thing you said that was personally convicting to me, Clay. And I'm trying to think how you said it in the blog, but you said, when we allow, and the key operative was we allow the stresses of life to start to burden us, then we are going to experience the, that self kind of focus, that self everything. And I went through sort of not feeling great this week. I've been fighting something, and I noticed that I was snippy at Phil, and I was just sort of, just everything irritated me. And I was like, wow, I allowed that. So as I read your article, I was like, I had some choice there. I could have brought Jesus more into the pity party I was having about myself and surrendered that to him so that I could get the joy back and find the freedom to live in that levity. But it definitely, I saw how quick and how easy I could just slide down.
That's so good. Scripture says the joy of the Lord is our strength. And I think when it comes to our own spiritual life, we have to keep that in context when we're going through tough things. When we're walking through the valleys, Psalm 23, where we feel like life is closing in on us, we can remind ourselves that we can tap into God's joy, even in the midst of hardship. And that's how we can still have a fun life, have a joyful life, even when the things around us might be going haywire.
It's almost like our humor or our fun could be, in a certain sense, a monitor of where we're at with the Lord. And it might be a new way of us coming around and looking at it. Is if there's fun in my life, there's probably a good evidence I'd let Jesus fill my space. And if everything's shrinking and all of a sudden the world is dark and dangerous and I don't like the people in my circles, I may need to bring more Jesus in my circle.
That's right. Just as a closing thought here, your view of God is going to determine how you operate with him and the level in which you experience intimacy with him. And so if you can see that the Lord is one who wants you to have an incredible life that is full of joy, passion, holiness, all of these things, then I think that you're going to experience more of that. But when you feel like God is a taskmaster, God is one who is watching over you, waiting for you to mess up, you're not going to live in that joy.
No, that's not fun.
No.
Well, guys, thank you so much, Clay, for sitting with us and sharing your wisdom and your own personal journey to finding more fun and getting out of that mundane or serious rut. And we invite all of you to consider just what is your view of God? Where is God in your story? Where is fun in your life? And begin to incorporate that. Check out Clay's blog, hardinlife.com, and we will see you back next week for another week